Is Mao Zedong a revolutionary hero or a mass murderer? If you have read Frank Dichter's books, then you will have the answer in your mind. Yes, he is indeed a mass murderer. A famous historian Xu Zhongyue said in his book, The Rise of Modern China, that Mao was good at revolution, but not good at governing a country. This is a fair assessment. From the beginning, Mao claimed to build a socialist democracy. He himself and the People's Liberation Army gives the impression of being cleaner than the Kuomintang. The CCP's hypocritical propaganda before the founding of the People's Republic of China did tempt many intellectuals. For instance, the CCP claimed that it would eventually bring about freedom of speech, constitutional government. However, many people do not understand the teacher of the CCP, the Soviet Union. The Chinese Communist Party entirely learned the totalitarian system from the Soviet Union. For example, they built labor camps, concentration camps, and re-education camps. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, didn't Mao know the existence of such extreme brainwashing institutions as re-education camps in China? Of course he knew. So, never believe what a politician says, but see what they does. Mao, as well as the Communist Party, learned from the Soviet Union not for the sake of democracy, but for the purpose of creating a dictatorship. So, after winning the Civil War, Mao not only suppressed former officials and supporters of the Kuomintang, but also broke his promises to the peasants, capitalists, intellectuals, and ethnic minorities. Before the establishment of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese Communist Party promised to give land to the peasants and allow the capitalists to continue with their business, promised the intellectuals practicing constitutional democracy, and promised the ethnic minorities that they would be allowed to become independent. However, the CCP broke its promises. Through the connectivization of agriculture, the land of the peasants was recovered, and the peasants were turned into serfs, and the CCP nationalized the industries of the capitalists. Through the anti-rightist campaign, the intellectuals were cracked down on, and the CCP suppressed minorities. Mao then followed the example of the Soviet Union and ruled China by his own will. As a result of his one-man dictatorship and his eagerness to catch up with Britain and surpass the United States, he introduced all sorts of unscientific and stupid policies, thus causing a serious famine. Frank Dichter estimates that the Great Famine from 1958 to 1961 killed at least 45 million people. The Great Famine was a turning point. Why? This is because before, ordinary people still believed in the socialism propagated by the CCP. But after the Great Famine, people gradually stopped believing in socialism. Meanwhile, Mao's position was challenged because of the Great Famine. But Mao wanted to put the blame on the poor implementation of his orders by grassroots officials. Senior CCP officials such as Deng Xiaoping and Liu Shaoqi defended the grassroots bureaucratic system. Thus, Mao later launched the Cultural Revolution to destroy the bureaucratic system, thus enabling him to govern the country through giving direct orders to the masses without having to go through the bureaucratic system. Mao called for students from all over the country to gather at Tiananmen Square, and these students formed the Red Guards, while at the same time, Mao also formed the Cultural Revolution Group. The Red Guards would destroy the bureaucratic system under the leadership of the Cultural Revolution Group, and the Cultural Revolution began. The Cultural Revolution led China into civil unrest. The worst losers in this civil unrest were the Red Guards, who listened to Mao. They went to war with the grassroots government. However, the grassroots government was in possession of a large number of weapons and highly trained police and army. These Red Guards can't fight against them, so many Red Guards lost their lives in the Cultural Revolution. When Mao destroyed the bureaucratic system, he thought he was in power, but little did he know that when he destroyed one bureaucratic system, a new one would be set up. Thus, for Mao, the Cultural Revolution was a failed revolution. It did not destroy the bureaucratic system, Mao also failed to govern the country as he wished by giving direct orders to the masses. And under Mao's dictatorship, there must be someone to stand out in the bureaucratic system to challenge his position. After the death of Mao Zedong, Deng Xiaoping came to power. He knew that the power of the state in the hands of one person is very scary. So Deng restored the previous bureaucratic system, and before his death, he changed China's political system to an oligarchy. Mao was an ambitious politician, constantly pursuing absolute power throughout his life, and human life was not worth a penny to him. Since he came to power, he has been launching various political campaigns to cleanse and suppress ordinary people or government officials. The central government, under his leadership, introduced all sorts of stupid policies that not only caused countless deaths, but also made China one of the poorest countries in the world. Therefore, Mao and the communists don't have ability to govern the country indeed. Mao is not a revolutionary hero, but a mass murderer. If you want to know more about how horrible China in Mao era was, I recommend you to read Frank Dichter's books. The books are really well written. When you read these books, it is as if you are reading novels.